Good morning, my students. Good morning, Mrs. Gaylord's second grade class. Good morning. I hope you are up and ready for the next day. It's the first day of April, which means, can you believe that March has flown by so fast? Good morning. I hope you're doing well with your studies. Hello, Sasha. Hello, Elise. Prashana, Kalicia, Fumike, Shamad. Hello, Charisma, Allison, Harper, Johnny, and Jamar. Hello, Brendan, Dante, Kalik, and Alea. I have been looking at your lessons and I can see that some of you are very busy working. Um, and I thank you for logging in and doing your work. As we get started today, let me remind you of a couple things. Okay. Ms. Gaylord will send you a link in your email today about making sure you're logging into the classrooms of the special area humanity teachers. Okay. There's a different classroom for PE, art, music, Spanish, and Miss Negley's math. Okay. So make sure that you are doing that today. Miss Gaylord has a small story to begin the day with. Okay. Some things in our world are pretty interesting, really kind of weird. One of them is the camel. With its thick, bushy eyebrows, long eyelashes, hump on its back, and big, floppy feet, the camel is not exactly the world's cutest creature. But everything about it was perfectly planned, okay, when it was created. You know what that big hump looks like? Many people think that it stores water, but it actually stores fat. That big hump of fat lets the camel go up to a week without drinking water in the summer, and it can go even longer without eating. Do you know how? Well, that camel can burn the fat in its hump for both energy and water. So, what about those bushy eyebrows and those long eyelashes? They keep out the desert sand. Camels can even close their nostrils to keep out the sand. And those big floppy feet, well, they're perfect for traveling long distances on shifting sands. Yes, camels were perfectly planned out to live in the desert. Just as fish live in the water, birds fly in the sky, monkeys swing through the trees. And you today are at home learning, and it was planned out for you to be learning our lesson today. And I hope that you're doing well and that you are getting everything done today. We will begin with our Riggs phonics today. Again, if you have that little notebook that you're keeping your words in, or pieces of paper where you're writing the Riggs words down, please go ahead and get that out now. Okay. Remember now, yesterday you wrote the words that Miss Gaylord gave out to you, and then I asked you if you missed any, if you would please write them 3 times each. Okay. So today I'm going to give you the words from our list that we've been learning, and you will be able to write those down now. Okay. And so then you can today, sometime later, maybe get either you check them with your journal, or you can have mom or dad check them, and then you see if you missed any today, and then you would do the same thing. Now, don't forget to use your 3 sentences and make sure you're practicing, because that's what we're studying in language now, and that will be a good way to practice trying to make a different sentence. Try to make one that's maybe a telling sentence, declarative, maybe a question sentence, interrogative, maybe a command sentence, or an exclamatory sentence, okay, as you write those. Okay, so now you've had time to get paper. Don't forget, anytime you need to pause the video so that you can stop if I'm going too fast, okay? Miss Gaylord has to kind of read them because she's got a lot to cover. Number 1 on your Riggs paper, fewer, fewer. Number 2, fewest, fewest. Number 3, device. Device. Number 4, bound. Bound. Number 5, ounce. Ounce. And number 6, nearly. Nearly. Number 7, basin. Basin. Number 8, excuse. Excuse. Number 9, button. Button. Number 10, strap. Strap. And number 11, clasp. Clasp. Okay, if you will get back out your journal, we'll continue with our next words for this week, okay? Now, we will have 6 words today. Now, someone mentioned that maybe I'm trying to write backwards because my screen, the words look backwards, but maybe I'll just write today correctly, and maybe it will view in your video with the words correctly, okay? The first word on today's list is the word depart. Depart. How many syllables is the word depart? Depart. 2. Very good. Okay. Depart starts with D. Okay. D. Depart. Okay. What would come after the D and depart? Okay. E. Very good. All right. E would be, does it sound like eh or e? Okay, it's not. So what do we use when it doesn't follow the rule? We use the thinking cap. Depart. Good. Okay, then we have our syllable dot. Syllable 2. P. Very good. P. Okay, the next part is a 2-letter sound. What would be the 2-letter sound? R. Very good. R. A-R. And you know, with a 2-letter sound, we underline the R. Okay. And then t, t, t. T makes 1 sound. Depart. Okay. Hopefully that's turned the correct way. I wrote it backwards this way in case. Okay. And the markings would be a thinking cap E, syllable dot, underline, depart. Okay. The next word today would be blast. How many syllables in the word blast? Blast. 1. Very good. Okay. Blast would start with a B. Very good. Okay. B. B-la. L, L, A. Okay, what are the sounds of A? A, aw. Okay, so it's the A, the first one. No markings. So what are the sounds of S? Z. Okay, it's the first one. No markings. And then T. Blast has no markings. One syllable, no markings. Blast. Okay, the next word would be matter. What is matter? Okay, we talked about matter in science. Okay, what would be matter? Anything that takes up space, okay? What things are made of, okay? Possibly. We talked about there's 3 types of matter, okay? Solid, liquid, and gas. Very good, okay? Some parts of matter has weight. Some takes up space, some doesn't, okay? Matter starts with a M. Very good, okay? Ah. What are the sounds of A? A, aw. It's the first one. When we use the first sound, no markings. T. Very good. Now, the T in this time is, the first one is silent. We talked about this yesterday. When you have letters like F, L, S, T, sometimes you double those, and when you say the first one, it's silent. The 2 underlinings mean silent. And this is the T we hear in matter. Matter. The T that we hear is in the second syllable. Okay? And then, which do we use in matter? Okay? The of her. Very good. Matter. Okay? Matter. 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 Now, the next 3 words are rhyming words. What do we mean by rhyming words? Okay, words that sound the same. Very good, okay? All of these words have a sound that says een. Een. What are some words you can think of that say een? Okay, just shout them out at me. Okay, what have you heard? Bean. Okay, maybe dean, like the dean of a school. Mean, you're being mean to me. Lean. Jeans, like we wear a pair of jeans. A new one you may not have heard of is wean. Let's start with one that you know. Bean. What does bean begin with? B. Good. B. Okay. Now, what are the sounds you think makes the E? Is it a double E? B-E-E-N? No, that would be bin. B-E-A. Now, what are the sounds of E-A? E-A-A. It's the first one. E. It makes a long E sound, so we do not mark it. Bean. Na. In. Good. These words are one syllable. Bean. Okay. Here are the words we have for today. Bean. All right, the next word on our list is lean. How many syllables in the word lean? 1. Very good. Okay. Lean looks just like bean, except for we changed the L. L, E, N. Lean. Okay. What does it mean to be lean? Okay. It means to be thin, or maybe you don't have a lot of something. These are lean times, or she is a lean person. Okay. Lean. These are the ways that we would mark lean. Okay. And the underline, the E-A sound. Okay. The last word on our list today is wean. What does the word wean mean? Okay. Maybe to come away or come off something. I'm going to wean myself off soda. Okay. You know, Miss Gaylord likes her Coke. W. Okay. E-A again. E-A makes three sounds. E-A. E, okay, it's the first sound, no markings. Na, na, N. Very good. Okay, so the word is wean. Okay, wean. So our words today are depart, blast, matter, bean, lean, and wean. Okay, now which of those are a part of speech that are a noun? Do we see any nouns somewhere in your Riggs journal? Hopefully you have made a piece of paper that has the parts of speech on them, okay? Do we have any words that are nouns, okay? Nouns. Matter can be a noun. Matter, okay? What else could be a noun? Bean. Bean, a vegetable. Very good, a noun. Okay. Do we see any words that could be a verb? What words could be a verb? Okay. Say them out loud. Depart. Good. Blast can be a verb. Blast. That also could be a noun. Okay. And wean. Wean. Okay. These would be our verbs. Okay. Do you see any words on our list that could be under the adjective column? Do you see the one word that could be a describing word? Lean. Lean. Okay. We had a lean crop of corn this year. Okay. Very small and thin. Lean. Very good. All right. Now you know your parts of speech for the words. Don't forget tonight to write your words that you missed 3 times each and continue to go over those words. Now, tomorrow will be Thursday, and Miss Gaylord will give you all the words, and you're going to do your practice spelling test tomorrow, okay? Because remember, we won't have the live lesson on Friday. Instead, we will get into what we call the Zoom room as a live lesson where we can talk about things we've learned over the week, okay? Very good. All right, so today, let's look again at our cards for our phonics sounds. I hope that you have been enjoying these. Maybe you're teaching somebody in your house what these are and the sounds that they make, okay? That would be a good thing to do. This will also help you with your reading skills. Now, Ms. Gaylord asked you to make sure that you were reading something. Did you notice when you went on the Google Classroom that if you get finished with your work, Ms. Nagley put a part at the top that says Gifted Corner? Well, that can be for all of us now, because if we have time when we finish our work, there's a choice board in there that we made up, Ms. Nagley and I, especially for you that get finished with their work early. So one of those things you might want to do would be some reading, okay? You might want to take a book, and this is the perfect time to read now that you have extra time. You're not really going anywhere. Ms. Gaylord asked you also, if you have a copy of this book, we're going to start this book very soon. Okay, this book is called Charlotte's Web. Now, if you're unable to get a copy, it's okay. Miss Gaylord will email it to your parent and they can download it to your computer. It is very much easier if you have a copy. You can just open the book and read it with us. But if that's the way you need to read it through the computer, that's okay as well. But if you have a chance, be looking for a copy. Maybe you can borrow one, or If you can get a copy, maybe order one. That would be great. If we were at school, I would have given you a copy. So I'm sorry that I can't do that right now. But look for that book. And I want to tell you every day to make sure that we're going to start this soon and make sure if you can find one, that would be a great thing to do. Okay? All right. Let's work on our sounds. What are the sounds of A? 4 sounds. A, aw. 2 sounds for C. K, S. Good. 1 sound for D. D, D. 1 sound for F. Nice. 2 sounds for G. G, J. 4 sounds for O. Ah, O, oo, 2 sounds for S. S, Z. 1 sound, qua, qua. B, 1 sound, b, b. E, 2 sounds, e. E, I'm sorry, E, e. E, E. Good. All right, H, 1 sound. I, 3 sounds. I, E. J, 1 sound. J. K, 1 sound. K. L, 1 sound. L. M, 1 sound. M. N, 1 sound. N. P, 1 sound. P. A little pig, put him in a pen, fed him on peach peelings. One day my little pig, he went pop. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Those are both examples of what? Alliteration. Very good. R, 1 sound. T, 1 sound. T. U, 4 sounds. U, oo, V, 1 sound. V. W, 1 sound. W. X, 1 sound. X. Y, 4 sounds. Ya, I, E. Very good. And Z, 1 sound. Z. Okay. Now, these are 2-letter sounds. The of her. The of early. The of works. The of nurse. The of first. Shh. Used at the beginning of a word, at the end of a syllable, but not at the beginning of most syllables after the first one, except for the ending ship. E, double E, always says E. Good. A, 2-letter A, that we do use at the end of English words. A, 2-letter A, that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with I. Ow, oh, cow and snow. Ow, oh, ooh, 4 sounds. Aw that we do use at the end of English words. Aw that we do not use at the end of English words. Ooh, you that we do use at the end of English words. Ooh, you that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with you. Oi that we do use at the end of English words. Oi that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with I. Ooh, oh. Ch, k, sh. Ng, e, a. What words on our list had the E sound that made up a E-A? Lean. Good. Wean. Bean. Very good. R. What word on our list had the 2-letter R sound? Depart. Yes. K, 2-letter K, used after a single vowel that says I, e, I, ed, d, t, past tense ending, or hua, oo, I, that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with I. O, the O of boat. A, that we do use at the end of English words. A, that we do not use at the end of English words. Why not? Because English words do not end with I. A, four-letter A. I, three-letter I. EI, our backwards phonogram. We say EI, but we write IE. That's for Kalesia. She likes that. Two-letter N, used only at the beginning of a base word. Two-letter F, two-letter F. Two-letter N, used both at the beginning and end of a base word. G, three-letter G, used after a single vowel that says a, e, I, a. O, the O of toe. Ch, three-letter ch, used after a single vowel that says a, e, I, a. Short letter sh, used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. Tall letter sh, used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. Z, used at the beginning of any syllable after the first one. O, oo, uff, off, aw, ow. One more time. O, oo, uff, off, aw, ow. Yes, good job. You get your first star for the day. Okay, you've gotten through another day of our Riggs Phonics. Okay, very good. If you need to press pause, please do so. If you need to take a quick break, grab a sip of water and get a little movement in, you can do that today, okay? All right, while you are getting ready, let's move over to our math review for today, okay? Our math review. How many of you have been reviewing some time and money? Hope you can say yes, okay? If you can get out some money at home, some change, that would be very helpful for you to practice counting, okay? To practice counting some change, okay? What if you have 1 quarter? How much money do you have? 25 cents. What if you have 1 dime? How much money do you have? 10 cents. Good job. What if you have 1 nickel? How much do you have? 5 cents. Good job. What if you have 1 penny? How much do you have? 1 cent. Okay, very good. Well, what if we add all these pieces of money up, okay? We start at the ones place here, and we start, what is 5 plus 5? 10. And 1? 11. Very good. Okay. Bring down your 1, carry your 1, 1 and 2, 3, and 3 and 1 is 4. So you can practice counting your change at home. This would be 41 cents, okay? You can practice counting your change and your dollars, and that will help you review for your money, okay? Another thing I wanted to review was your time, okay? Your time. Tell me what time it is. Yep, 4 o'clock. Very good, okay? And tell me what time it is now. 4:05. How much does each of these numbers represent? How many minutes does each number represent? 5. Very good. So what time is it now? 4:10. Okay. 4:15. 4:20. 4:25. 4:30. Okay. What do we do when the number is in between? What if this is called what hand? The minute hand. Good. Okay. And this shorthand is called the hour hand. What do we do if the minute hand is in between the 1 and the 2. Can you tell what time it is? Okay, so this we count. After we get to the 5, which is 1, we count over by ones. 6, 7, 8. The time on this clock is 4:08. Okay, now make sure you're practicing those at home as well. Okay, now what if we bring our minute hand all the way over to the other side in between the 10 and the 11? Okay. All right, so now it's still the hour of 4. It's between the 4 and the 5. But what would the minute hand read here? Okay, it is 2 minutes after the 10. Okay, if it was on the 10, it would be 4:50. But it's 2 minutes after the 10. So it is 4:52. Very good. Okay. So you can practice drawing out some clocks. Have mom or dad draw some clocks for you. Say, what time is it? That's a wonderful way to practice with your time. And also don't forget to practice with your money. Miss Gaylord wants to review some shapes that we've learned together. Okay. These shapes all have straight sides. Okay, do you see what she means by straight sides? They're not curved. The sides are all straight. Okay, let's see if we can remember some of the names of the shapes. Okay, would this shape have straight sides? No, it's a curved shape. Okay, this is not a straight-sided shape. Okay, we'll put that up. This is our circle, of course. What is a straight-sided shape that has 3 sides called? Okay, the triangle. Very good. Okay, you see how these sides are actually all the same length, but do all triangles have to have the same length of sides? No, they don't. Okay, this is called a 4-sided figure where all the sides are the same length. What do we call this figure? A square. Now, who remembers what's the other name we can call a 4-sided figure with straight sides? A quadrilateral. Very good. Okay. Would this shape be a quadrilateral? Okay. Does it have 4 sides? Yes. Okay. What is this shape called where these 2 sides are what we call parallel and the other 2 sides are parallel in a different direction? Okay. We call this a trapezoid. Very good. This is also an equilateral shape. It has 4 straight sides. What do we call this shape where these 2 sides are parallel and these 2 sides are parallel? This is an example and this is an example. What do we call these shapes? A rhombus. Very good. Very good. Okay. Is this a quadrilateral? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides. Would that be a quadrilateral? What do you think? How many of you say yes? Okay. How many of you say no? You are right. It is not a quadrilateral. What is a 6-sided shape called? A hexagon. Very good. A hexagon. Now, Miss Gaylord drew a 5. I do not have a 5-sided shape with me, but I will draw one. Okay. Here. What is a 5-sided shape called? Do you remember? Pentagon. Now, the pentagon, just like all of these shapes, have the same number of sides as the angles. We call this the angle. See, I'll make a dot on the angle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are all the angles there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, we learned yesterday that the number of sides of this straight-sided figure and the number of angles are the same. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 angles and 6 sides. 4 angles and 4 sides. Okay, very good. Okay, so you practice your shapes today, and today we're going to start our lesson. Okay, in your Google Classroom. Some of you have told me that you have printed off the lesson. This is what it looks like. Okay, and there is a document that you can write answers on in the Google Classroom, and it's called homework. That's what Miss Gaylord will grade. Make sure for everything you do that you click the turn in button. Even when you watch this video that you're watching right now, every day you have to click turn in. Do you know what that means? That means Miss Gaylord knows you did it, and I can check you off and give you the correct grade for doing it, okay? So this is where we're going to begin today in our lesson. We're going to begin in the book, okay? If you have the printed pages, we are looking at page 252. 52. This is a favorite lesson of mine. I so wish that you were in class with me and I could give everybody their own bag of shapes. I had a bag ready for you to make things from, but that's okay. If you don't have any shapes at home, you can always draw some when we go to put these together today, okay? All right, so let's look. It says, read the problem and then explore different ways to make a hexagon. How many sides does a hexagon have? 6. Very good. Okay. These are the shapes that Meg has. Okay. Some of them are the same color as Miss Gaylord. She's got this shape. Okay. This is called a hexagon. She's got this shape. This is a trapezoid. She's got this shape, a triangle, and she's got this shape. They happen to be the same colors as mine. Great. This is a rhombus. Okay, so we've got these shapes to work with, and we want to put them together to make, okay, it says a hexagon with the same shapes. All right, so there's 3 things we want to do in this lesson today. First, we want to model it, okay? And then we're going to connect it, and then we're going to try a problem on our own, okay? All right, so if you look at the hexagon, okay, shape, if I only have one of these to show you. Let me see if I can find some other, yeah, I've got some other trapezoids in here I can try to work with and see. Miss Gaylord has her bag of shapes here just for you. And she's going to pull out 2 of these. What are these? 2 trapezoids. Okay, so she's got one on the top and one on the bottom. Now, if I put this together, what shape have I made? Can you figure it out by counting the sides? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Yes, okay, that also would be the same shape as one hexagon. Okay, do you see these are the same shape? I put 2 trapezoids together to make one hexagon. Okay, very good. Okay, now look at the next part of the model it. You can also make a hexagon by using some of these shapes. Okay, what are these shapes called? Okay. Of course, this is the triangle. Now I'm going to use my yellow one here. I'm not going to be able to hold them up to the screen. If I had them flat, I could show you. But if Miss Gaylord puts several triangles together, okay, do you see how those 2 can fit together? And then she puts one more. Okay, and that already looks like it's filling up the hexagon, okay? So she could put 3 more on the bottom. And how many of these triangles would it take to fill up one hexagon? you can see if there's 1, 2, 3 on the top and picture there being 1, 2, 3 on the bottom, how many would that be? 6. You're right. Okay, very good. Okay, would they take up the same amount of space? And would they fill in the entire hexagon so that no part of the yellow would be showing? Okay, we will find out. Let's go over to the page where you can type your answers in or write them if you printed out your paper. Okay, look at the first modelet. Okay, what shape made up the one hexagon? What two shapes made up the one hexagon? Okay, in a complete sentence, you would need to write, the hexagon is made from 2 trapezoids. Very good. 2 trapezoids. Okay, now look at the second modelet picture. I wish I had these I could give to you and you could spread them out on your table at home. But just look at, imagine in your mind. Look at the second modelet. What shapes made up the second hexagon? Okay, so we have this hexagon, and then we put these shapes in, and we formed, remember, what shapes made up the second hexagon? Okay, now they used 4 triangles, and they put one other shape in. They decided to use 4 triangles, and what shape was left? What shape would that be? Okay, that would be the shape of a rhombus. Now, Miss Gaylor doesn't have a rhombus, that exact shape, but just pretend that it's a yellow one in there. So the shape there was made up of 4 triangles and a rhombus. As you write your complete sentence, make sure you're writing that. The hexagon is made up of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's hard to see with my fingers. 4 triangles and 1 rhombus. Very good. Okay, now you are going to look at problem number, it says number 8. Okay, look at number 8. And I want you to think about a way that you can make a hexagon from these shapes that we have, okay? It says find 2 new ways to make a hexagon. Now, these are the shapes you can use. You can use a triangle, you can use a trapezoid, or you can use a rhombus, okay? Can you think of, now you may want to draw this out on the paper or just think in your mind. Use the shapes at the top of the previous page and make a drawing to show each way. So Miss Gaylor is going to take her paper and make a drawing with you, okay? Let's see. Okay. Then write how many of each shape can make up each hexagon. Okay, so I'm going to draw, and like you can in your paper, I want you to draw a hexagon. Okay, how many sides is the hexagon? 6, okay? Very good. Okay, so think about the ways that I can make up this hexagon, okay? So there are many answers here, but just one I'm going to show you is, what if I divided in half? Okay, what if I divide it in half like that? I don't want to use the same way they did, so I'm not going to leave it like this. But right now, that looks like 2 trapezoids. Okay, and now I'm going to add another one of these. What would that be called? A triangle, a rhombus, and what if I put another triangle over here? A triangle and another rhombus. That could be one way. Now, I want you to press pause maybe and think about another way. Don't use the ones that the book gave, but what's another way we could make up this hexagon? Think of another way. And you're going to want to draw these in the book on the page that you printed out, or either on the page that you are working on, okay? What's another way I can make up a hexagon? Okay, if you need to think, let's press pause and you think about it for just a minute. Okay. Now, if you notice on the bottom way, I had one hexagon and I had 4 triangles with 1 rhombus. Okay. But what if I put more than 4 triangles? Would that work for a hexagon? Would that work? There's 3 on top. Okay. What if I turned that around and did the same thing on the bottom? What shapes would be made up in that hexagon? Okay. Okay. What if I turned it in half, put it in, okay, and I put 1 trapezoid, another trapezoid, and this time I put 3 triangles on top and 3 triangles on bottom. Would that work? Yes, okay. So these could be 2 ways you might try. Now, you might have other ways that we did not want you to try to use the same way in the book. But when you write your answer in your sentence, make sure you write, I used 2 rhombuses and 2 triangles to make a hexagon. I used 6 triangles to make a hexagon. Make sure that you're writing the whole answer in a complete sentence. Okay? I want you to also, when you get through writing that, I want you to look at the bottom and I want you to look at try it. Show how to make this shape 2 different ways. Use the shapes shown at the top of the page. So you can use the shapes at the top, which are a hexagon, rhombuses, triangle, or trapezoid. It says use, let's see if you can take the shape shown, and it says make another shape from them, okay? You practice on your paper. This is really fun. You know what it's called when you put these shapes together to make pictures? Those are called tangrams. I wish I could give you those. I have those for you as well. Okay, so you can make shapes out of those pictures. So press pause if you need some time. Let's try to make some shapes out of those. Okay, Miss Gaylord's going to try. What shape is this? Okay, she's got a trapezoid. Okay, what if she puts one this way? Okay, almost looks like a butterfly. Okay, she's got 2 trapezoids together. All right, what if you can draw as many as you want to at the bottom. What if I took 2 trapezoids and I made that shape? That could be a triangle. Okay, that could be a rhombus and a trapezoid. You might have many more as you are looking at those shapes as well. Okay. Now, as you are doing your math lesson, there are 2 parts to the lesson. Remember how we tear out our math homework each night from this book? Miss Gaylord has put this book into your Google Classroom. So she wants you to do the practice pages in the math book, okay? And then she also wants you to do the homework in the classroom where you mark the answer with a multiple choice. That's the part that the Google Classroom will put your grade in. Don't forget to mark turn in. So the practice pages that you do are going to help you be ready for the assessment at the end, okay? So the practice pages here, make sure that you're doing those that are also in the Google Classroom, okay? It shows you the quadrilaterals, 4 sides, 4 angles, square, rectangle, trapezoid, rhombus, pentagons, 5 sides, 5 angles, hexagons, 6 sides, 6 angles. Today's work shows you how to make some shape, to use the shapes to make pictures, putting those shapes together that we worked with in class, okay? There are different ways. There's not just one way. And then it'll show you how you can look at these shapes and you can figure out what shapes these would be made of, okay? Very good. All right, so all the practice you can get with that is going to help you with your math lesson, okay? So if you want to maybe you even have time since you're home and you want to take some paper, construction paper, and make some of these shapes out of, and then you can have your own little set of tangrams to make things that look like rhombuses, squares. You can put them together to make a shape. I know that you all often enjoy that as well. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. You did a great job with that. And I'm going to give you another star for your math lesson today. Very good. All right. If you need to press pause and take a break, you can do so for a minute and stretch, maybe get a little water, and then come back and join us for the next part of the lesson. Thank you for paying such close attention. It's a different way to learn, but I know that you are doing your best to do that, okay? All right, today's lesson in reading, we've been learning in our iReady lessons about how authors use reasons to support their ideas, okay? We talked about how when we can read a story and we can look for what we call key points. A key point, remember, is an important idea about a topic, okay? And after the author gives you the key point of what he or she is going to be writing about, they give you reasons to support that key point, right? And we have had two stories. We talked about the katydid with the leaf on its back. We talked about the walking stick and how it protects itself. And then yesterday we read about a new insect that maybe you hadn't heard of, and it was called the earwig. And it was telling us in the lesson that we really don't have to be afraid of earwigs because they don't really do harm to humans, but they're kind of frightful to look at, if you ask me. Today's lesson, if you have printed out the pages, are also in your iReady book, okay? They are the lessons that look like this. It should say Soldier Bees, and it's on page 314. Okay? Soldier Bees. In this lesson of reading this week, we're also getting some science in with our study here that we've studied of insects. Okay? All right. Tell us what you know about the bee. Just shout it out at the screen. What do you already know about the bee? Okay. You already know some facts, okay? Where do bees live? Okay, a hive, good. Okay, what do bees do? Do you know? Some of you know this. Bees have a job to do, okay? Just like we have jobs to do here on Earth, but bees also have a job to do. And what kind of place or habitat that an animal would live would be a place where each member has its own job. Okay, a colony. Good. Okay, a colony. And that's what a bee lives in. Now, bees can be very scary to us. Miss Gaylord's been stung by bees many times in her life, and a bee can be frightening. Okay, a bee gets into my car and I'm very frightened, right? I stepped on a bee one time as a child and I'll never forget that. So I was barefoot and it did not feel well. But do you know that bees have a good purpose? Bees are very important on our earth. Okay, we're going to learn some of these things today. Now, if you have already read the story, good job for you. If you have not already read the story by yourself, I'd like for you to press pause and go ahead and read the article. It's a science article, okay, like yesterday. Now, as you read, I want you to take your pencil and I want you to underline what you think is the key point of the story. And then after the key point, there's going to be some reasons why you think that it's the key point. Also, you can underline those, okay, as you're reading. So take some time right now and let's read the story. If you need to pause it, let's do that now, okay? Soldier Bees by Melissa Marin. We could learn a lot about working together from honeybees. There are 3 types of bees in a hive. They all do different jobs to make their hive a home. The queen bee lays eggs. Drones are the fathers, and worker bees do everything else. They clean the hive, feed the young, and find nectar. Do you know what the nectar is? Okay, the food for them to eat. Good. In South America, some honeybees have added a new kind of worker, the soldier bee. Think of that for a minute, why they would call another type of bee a soldier bee. Think about what a soldier does. Okay, what does a soldier do for our country? Okay, guards us, protects us. Okay, yes, fights for us if needed. Very good. Think about that with the bee colony. You've got the queen bee who lays the eggs. You've got the drones who are the fathers for the little babies. And you've got the worker bees. And now you've got the 4th type of soldier bee. Think about that. Soldier bees stay at the opening of the hive to protect it from robber bees. Robber bees like to steal the honey from other hives. In most hives, the worker bees stand guard for only 1 or 2 days. Then they fly off to do other jobs. That's in most bee colonies. But soldier bees are different. They spend their whole life doing one job. It says defending the hive from other insects. They are very good at keeping other bees safe. The soldier bees are some of nature's tiny heroes. All right, now, I hope that you learned something from that. Okay, tell me now what kind of bees live in a hive? Good. Okay, so we have the queen bee, you said, the drone bees, the worker bees, and in some hives, the soldier bees. Very good. Okay. What would you say was the main job of the soldier bee? Okay. If you go back to the story, it says several things. Okay. You might have found it says soldier bees stay at the opening of the hive to protect it from robber bees. Okay. Very good. So you could have said that when I ask what the main job of the soldier bee is, you could say to guard or protect the rest of the hive. How would you say that the soldier bees are different from any other bee in the hive? How are they different? Okay. We know that they're the same because they all have jobs. That's what makes up a colony, when everybody has a different job. Okay. But how are they different? How is their job different from the other 3 types of bees? They only have one job, and that one job is to guard the colony. Very good. Okay. All right. So if you had to think about that story, and Miss Gaylord asked you, what do you think the key point is from that story? Could you go ahead and tell me? Okay. All bees, right, have to do something in order for the bees to survive. They all have a job, right? So the main key point of that article would be, did you underline anything in your passage? Okay, look back if you haven't at paragraph number 1. Look and see if you can find the key point to this science article. Has anyone found it? Okay, look in sentence number 3. They, meaning the bees, all do different jobs to make their hive a home, right? Okay. Now, can you think of any reasons why these bees have different jobs to make their hive a home? Okay. What if everybody did not do their jobs? What if the drone did not make the eggs with the queen? There'd be no more bees for the colony. What if the worker bees did not get food for the colony? They would not survive. Did you know that in a bee colony, just like termites and ants and such, sometimes if you kill the queen, the whole colony disappears. Okay, so sometimes when we think about animal insects that make colonies, sometimes we don't like that. We don't want our homes to have a bee infestation or a termite problem. So the people, the exterminators that come in, if they find a queen, they can take the whole colony out. It's just a side fact, okay? All right, so open up your book to the next page, and this is where we're going to write our answers. If you've printed them out, here we are. We're on page 315, okay? If you haven't, well, everybody needs to type in or write in the answers in the document that we provided for the Google Classroom, okay? Number 1, what key point does the author make about honeybees in paragraph 1? Is it A, all the bees work to make the hive a home? B, the 3 types of bees are queens, drone, and workers? C, robber bees like to steal the honey from other bees? Or D, soldier bees are a special kind of worker bee? Now, all those answers are found in the passage, but what is the question? It's asking for the key point. 3 of those are details. They're just reasons and details that are about the key point. So what are you looking for in number 1? You're looking for the key point. Can you tell me which one you chose? A, very good. All the bees have to work to make their hive a home. Now, number 2 says, what reason does the author give to explain the key point that she makes in paragraph 1? Now, we know the key point is what? Bees have different jobs that they have to do to make their hive a home. What is a reason that could explain that? Is it A, robber bees like to steal honey from the hives? No, that's a detail that is not supporting the key point. B, each type of bee in a hive does a different job? Maybe. Read the rest. C, some bees have added a new kind of worker? Does that support the fact that all the bees have to work to make a home? Probably not. Or D, soldier bees are different than worker bees. Which one would you choose? B, each type of bee in a hive has a different job. Now, the author makes a point that soldier bees are different from the other bees, the other worker bees, okay? They're different. They have some things alike, the fact that they all have to do work, but they have something that's different. Can you think of some reasons as you write your short response why the soldier bees are different from the worker bees? Okay, now that's what you're going to do in your short response. This is where you'll be in your short response. It's on page 317 if you're looking at the document, but don't forget to type it in to the document where Ms. Gaylord has uploaded the answer document in the Google Classroom. Write about how soldier bees are different from other worker bees. Let's think about that as we make a web, okay, on the soldier bee. I'm hoping that the camera is turning it around now so that this is not backwards. If it's backwards, I'm sorry. Think about the soldier bee. What are some things we learned about the soldier bee? Okay. All right. They guard the hive. Their job is to guard. Okay. How often do they do that? Okay. They work daily on that. Good. Many times they do it their whole life, it says. Their whole life. What's another word for guard and protect you might mention? Defend. Good. Okay. You can use the word defend when you get to write your answer. Okay. Now, the question is how soldier bees are different than worker bees. Now, worker bees only do short shifts, it says. They only do maybe 1 or 2 days. But it says soldier bees, they have this job daily. Every day, that's what they do, to defend and guard, okay? So that might be one difference. When you think about your differences, write a web. Think about the answers before you write it down, okay? The soldier bee's job is to protect and defend the colony. Worker bees may stand guard only for a day or two, but soldier bees stand guard their lives daily, okay? Their whole lives to defend the colony. As you write your answer, don't forget to type it in the document and fill up all the lines so that you're writing more than just one sentence. 2, maybe 3 sentences will be good or more, okay? Always make sure you fill out the answer completely, okay? All right, well, you get another star for reading, and you did a great job today, and you listened well. Okay, if you need to take a pause on the video, grab a sip of water, go to the restroom, you can do that today. The next thing I want to look at is your social studies. Now, I hope that you have taken a look at the PowerPoints that I have uploaded for you in Google Classroom. Okay. Today, it's on day 3. It says page 128 on goods and services. Now, Miss Gaylord, she told you yesterday about what a good and a service was. Now, this is the study of economics, or the study of your resources. What kind of resources would you say that Miss Gaylord has learned with you? What have we learned for resources? Okay, I made this little diagram to remind you of some resources, okay? The first one, natural resources. What are some natural resources? Okay, air, trees, plants, water, dirt. Good, okay. What's another resource? People. People are actually a resource. Okay, people can be a resource. What's another resource that we learned? Okay, money. Money is a resource that we need to spend. Very good, okay. Equipment, okay. I don't know if you can see down here at the bottom, some equipment we talked about could also be a resource. Now, we talked about some things that are also part of economics, and we talked about what if you wanted to buy something. Okay, yesterday we talked about the example of I really wanted to buy the ice cream, but I gave up the toy. Do you remember what those were called? What's the name of what you give up when you want to buy the good? The opportunity cost, okay? I can't go to the dollar store and buy my little plushie because I spent my dollar on the ice cream, okay? So we talked about opportunity cost yesterday, and today we'll learn more about goods and services. If you want to follow along in the PowerPoint, you can do that now, okay? All right, so it says, on the day one. Which items are goods and which are services? Before we finish learning, let's see if you can remember what we learned yesterday. Okay, so goods. What if I want to buy some things? What if I want to buy this? A phone. Is this a good or a service? A good. A good. Look at the diagram, okay? A computer. That purse that I've been wanting at the mall. That's a good. Okay, the soccer ball is a good. That new pair of tennis shoes that I was begging mom to get me, that's also a good, okay? Now, a service is a little bit different, okay? A service is something that we do for someone or someone does for us. Look at the examples on the diagram, okay? Lawn care, okay? Maybe you get out there and help mom or dad with the lawn. Maybe you pick some weeds or help mow the grass. That's a service. Car repair. Okay, you needed to get your car fixed and it wasn't running right. The repairman is a service man. A car wash is a service. Okay, delivery. The delivery truck is also a service. All right, so then let's look at the next slide. Let me read to you what is a good. It says, goods are things that people make. Goods can be touched and held. If you look around, you see lots of goods you use every day. At school, you use goods such as pencils, paper, and books. The clothes you wear are goods. The food you eat is a good too. Goods you use at home are your toys, furniture, towels, televisions, and much more. Your parents sometimes buy expensive goods such as computers, smartphones, and cars. Because people built your house, even your house is considered a good. Okay, interesting. Now, on the next slide, it says, what are services? Services are actions that people do, okay? Haircuts, teaching, cooking, driving. Just think there are lots of people out there that provide services. Can you think of some other ones? Maybe your parent has a service job. Yes, I know we have some parents in our class that are chefs. We've got some parents that are teachers, lawyers, bankers. Good. Okay. Those are services. Okay. We've got some service people. We've got some that defend our country and work for our country in the army or some other service. Thank you. A barber gives haircuts. A chef cooks food. A doctor or nurse. Some of you are, your parents are in healthcare. Right? The bus driver who drives you to school. Thank you, Krishana's mama. Okay. The mechanic that repairs your car. These are all valuable services. They're valuable jobs. Did you know that teaching, like Miss Gaylord's doing right now, that I'm providing a service actually for you? You may not have thought that, but it's actually a service. Okay. Now, today there's a document in your Google Classroom that is, for you to complete. Now, some of you have requested access to do it. Okay. So please do so. If you haven't already, Ms. Gaylord can click a button and it'll give you access to complete that sheet, but it's on goods and services. Okay. Let's see if I can look at it real quickly, if I can pull it up here. Okay, there it is. Okay, so it's a sheet that you can actually answer, and you can let's see if it'll come up real quickly. This. Okay, it says to read each scenario and tell whether you are purchasing goods or a service. And your job is to write the word good or service on the sheet, okay? Again, a good is something you can buy. This football, a plushie, okay? I can buy a phone, and ice cream we talked about, things you can buy. If you go to the store and buy an apple, you get to keep the apple and you get to take it home with you because it's a good. A service is, again, something that someone does for you. Now, when you buy a service, you are hiring somebody to perform work. You're not buying something you can hold or touch, but you're buying that service. Okay. If your car's broken, you're going to have to hire somebody to fix it if you can't do it yourself. Okay. So the examples, there are 10 questions for you to answer. Ms. Gaylor will grade those. Okay. You get a haircut. What would it be? Okay. A service. Very good. You buy a book from a garage sale. A good. Okay. Very good. Now, the rest of them you can do on your own, but don't forget to make sure you click the button that says turn in. That's very important that you click turn in, because that's the way that I can grade it. Okay. Another word we learned yesterday is the word allocate. We'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about these. Okay. When you allocate is when you're deciding where is your money going to go. Okay. We talked yesterday about there's some ways you can decide how you're going to allocate where your money is going to go. Okay. One way is we talked about was price. If the price is really high on something, are more people going to buy it or less? Less people will buy it. Very good. So people that are making goods have to be careful about the price they set on their goods. Another way to allocate goods and services is to use what we call the process of majority rule. Okay. Majority rule would be where we take a vote. You remember yesterday where Ms. Gaylord asked you to take a vote with her? Okay. Let's do that again today. Okay. All right. How many of you, let's see, how many of you love to see a fireworks show? Okay, a fireworks show. Let's pretend these are our fireworks. How many of you love fireworks? Okay, go ahead and raise your hand. Okay, how many of you love fireworks? Okay, let's pretend that 12 of you really like fireworks. Now, some people really don't like fireworks. My youngest son, when he was younger, he really did not like fireworks. The noise and the whole thing just was terrible for him. It scared him. And I remember for years we'd have to skip the fireworks every time there was a celebration. So some of you may be in that boat. So let's say 2 of you, let's say 3 of you voted for you do not like fireworks. Okay. Which one would be the majority rule? Does the most of the class like fireworks or not? They do. Okay. So 12 would be the majority. What number do you have to have a majority? Okay. You have to have over half. Okay. So we have an odd number in our class. What does it mean to have an odd number? Okay. An odd number is not divided up by 2. Okay. It's not divided evenly. There's at least one extra. That's an odd number. What are our odd numbers? Yes, 1, 3, 5, 7. Count with me. 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, and so on. Okay. And then so we have an odd number of 15. So it could have a majority rule. Now, if you have exactly half, like if you have a class of 16 where you have 8 and 8, okay, that could be tie. We call tied, and you'd have to have a tiebreaker. But the majority means you have over half that wants to vote a certain way, right? And that's ways that we allocate goods. Okay. Now, tomorrow we will learn 4 more ways that we can allocate our goods and our monies in the study of economics. Okay. All right. So you get another star for social studies. Don't forget to go back over the things we've studied and complete those worksheets. The most important thing that you need to remember is to mark turn in. Very good. Okay. All right. So the last couple of days in our language lesson, we have covered the types of sentences, whether a sentence is a sentence or not. We talked yesterday about commas. Okay. And commas are pauses in a sentence when you can take a breath or a pause. Where are some places that we learned yesterday that you can add some commas? Okay. Yes. Okay. Many of you know that you can add commas when you have 3 or more items in a sentence. Okay. I like red, comma, white, comma, yellow, comma, and green. You would put a comma to separate items in a series. Where else would you add commas? Okay. After the word yes or no at the beginning of a sentence. Very good. Okay. Where else would you add commas? Okay. In dates and addresses. Very good. We've studied letter writing at the beginning of our school year, remember? And we talked about today is April 1st, 2020, and your comma would go after the day before the year. Very good. Okay. Also, we talked about commas. Okay. When you are speaking to someone and you use their name, you actually could use a comma there after their name. And I'm saying, Mom, comma, can you buy me a pencil? Okay. You would put a pause after the word mom with your comma there. Ms. Gaylord's going to be uploading some more language sheets to the classroom as well for next week that deal with those things. Make sure you're completing the ones for this week. And as we remind you, don't forget, it's important that you're doing, I'm looking in every day into the daily website work. Okay, there's 2 things that are needed to be. There's plenty of other ones you can do if you have time, but these are needed. The iReady 20 minutes per day or 80 minutes per week in your math and reading. Some of you have already gotten on the ball and done like the whole week. That's awesome. Okay. Don't forget to do the Moby Max. You can work on your fact fluency. You can also work on your science and social studies. You have to also do your minutes per week. Okay. Now, when you've done those and finished them, it's important that you click on the tab that says daily websites and you mark turn in, because then Miss Gaylord knows that you have done that and she can give you credit for doing that. Okay. Very good. All right. So the last thing then today, as we wrap it up, is I'm going to start our book to start reading Charlotte's Web. Okay. Now, this is a book that this is a favorite of mine personally, and a favorite of many children. I don't know if you've read it yet. It may be a little bit above a few of your reading levels. So that's why Miss Gaylord's going to read it with you. Okay. But it's been the second grade book study at our school for many years. So we're going to continue on. It's a great book. Now, as we read, you will have questions. Okay. Questions to answer if you listened to parts of the book. Okay. So I'm just going to start it today by looking at this book cover. Could you possibly tell me what you think is the book is going to be about? Can you tell me by just looking at the illustrations what you think maybe it's about? Okay. The title is Charlotte's Web, and you can see a web up here in the words. Okay. You can see here a spider. Okay, what else do you see on the cover? You can see a girl. Okay, you see some animals. Okay, what is the animal in her arms? A pig. Okay, so these are going to be some of the main characters of this book. Okay, now as we begin today, I want you just to listen. I'm not going to read too much, but I'm going to start with chapter 1. Where's Papa going with that axe? Said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. Out to the hog house, replied Mrs. Arable. Some pigs were born last night. I don't see why he needs an axe, continued Fern, who was only 8. Well, said her mother, one of the pigs is a runt. It's very small and weak, and it'll never amount to anything. So your father has decided to do away with it. Do away with it? Shrieked Fern. You mean kill it just because it's smaller than the others? Mrs. Arable put a pitcher of cream on the table. Don't yell, Fern, she said. Your father's right. The pig would probably die anyway. Fern pushed a chair out of the way and ran outdoors. The grass was wet and the earth smelled of springtime. Fern's sneakers were sopping by the time she caught up with her father. Think about where Fern, the girl, is going. Okay? She's going out to talk to her father. What is her father's plan at this point? Okay, her father, she doesn't know, but she knows her father has an axe. And her mother says that this pig is a what? What word from the story means small and, let's see, weak? Did you catch that? Small and weak? A runt. Okay, so she runs out to where her father is outside. Please, she said, don't kill it. She sobbed, it's unfair. Mr. Arable stopped walking. Fern, he said gently, you have to learn to control yourself. Control myself, yelled Fern. This is a matter of life and death. And you talk about controlling myself? Tears now ran down her cheeks, and she took hold of the axe and she tried to pull it out of her father's hand. Fern, said Mr. Arable, I know more about raising a litter of pigs than you do. A weakling makes trouble. Now run along. What word did we say was the word for an animal that is small and weak? A runt. But it's unfair, cried Fern. The pig couldn't help being born small, could it? If I'd have been born very small at birth, would you have killed me? Mr. Arable smiled. Certainly not, he said, looking down at his daughter with love. But this is different. A little girl is one thing and a little runty pig is another. I see no difference, replied Fern, still hanging onto the axe. This is the most terrible case of injustice I've ever seen. A queer look came over John Arable's face, almost like he was ready to cry himself. Her father said, all right, you go back to the house and I'll bring the runt to you when I come in. I'll let you start it on a bottle like a baby, and then you'll see what trouble a pig can be. What did Fern mean by injustice? Okay, something that was not fair. What was the case of injustice for Fern? That her father was going to do away with the pig. Well, when Mr. Arable, her father, returned to the house half an hour later, he carried a carton under his arm. Fern was upstairs changing her sneakers. The kitchen table was set for breakfast. The room smelled of coffee and bacon, damp plaster, and wood smoke from the stove. Put it on her chair, said Mrs. Arable. Mr. Arable sat the carton down at Fern's place. Then he walked to the sink and washed his hands and dried them on the roller towel. Fern came slowly down the stairs. Her eyes were red from crying. She'd been crying. As she approached the chair, the carton started to wobble and there was a scratching noise. Fern looked at her father and she lifted the lid off the carton. And there inside it, looking up at her, was that newborn pig. It was a white one, and the morning light shone through his ears, turning them pink. He's yours, said Mr. Arable, saved from an untimely death. And may the good Lord forgive me for this foolishness. Fern could not take her eyes off that tiny pig. Oh, she said, oh, look at him. He is absolutely perfect. She closed the carton carefully. First she kissed her father, and then she kissed her mother, and then she opened up the lid again, lifted out the pig, and held it against her cheek. At this moment, her brother Avery came into the room. Now, Avery was 10. He was heavily armed. He had an air rifle in one hand and a wooden dagger in the other. What is that? He demanded. What has Fern got? She's got a guest for breakfast, said Mrs. Arable. Now go wash your hands and face, Avery. Let's see it, said Avery, setting his gun down. You call that miserable thing a pig? That's a fine specimen of a pig. That looks no bigger than a white rat, he said. Wash up and go eat your breakfast, Avery, his mother said. The school bus will be here in half an hour. Can I have a pig too, Pop? Said Avery. Nope. I only distribute pigs to the early risers, Mr. Arable said, and Fern was up by daylight trying to rid the world of injustice. As a result, she now has a pig. A small one, to be sure, but nevertheless, a pig. It just shows what can happen If a person gets out of bed promptly, let's eat. But Fern could not eat, not till her pig had a drink of milk. Mrs. Arable found a baby's nursing bottle and a rubber nipple. She poured some warm water into the bottle. She poured some warm milk into the bottle. She fitted the nipple over the top and handed it to Fern. Give him his breakfast, she said. A minute later, Fern was seated on the floor in the kitchen with her infant between her knees, teaching it to suck from that bottle. The pig, although tiny, had a good appetite and caught on quickly. The school bus honked from the road. Run, commanded Mrs. Arable, taking the pig away from Fern, slipping a donut into her hand. Avery grabbed his gun and another donut. The children ran out to the road, climbed into the bus. Fern took no notice of the others on the bus. She just sat and stared out that window, thinking what a blissful world it was and how lucky she was. She had entire charge of a pig. By the time the bus reached the school, Fern had named her pet, selecting the most beautiful name she could think of. Do you know it? Its name is Wilbur, she whispered to herself. And she was still thinking about her pig when the teacher called out, Fern, what is the capital of Pennsylvania? Wilbur, Fern said dreamily, and the pupils all giggled, and Fern blushed. If you have a chance, grab a copy of Charlotte's Web, and I will download it into your parents' email if you need to look at it as we read, okay? All right, guys. Well, thank you for a good class today. Okay, you've done 3 classes this week, 1 more tomorrow. And don't forget to look for the email about our live lesson on Friday in the Zoom room, okay? All right, I hope you're doing great, and I will see you tomorrow. Monkey, tell them goodbye. Goodbye, class. Goodbye. See you next time.